Chapter 384. I haven't seen you for a few days, you have become arrogant. It must have been caused by the demonic key entering their bodies. Virtuous Phoenix King guessed that if not for the demonic key, the entire city would not be in such a state. A message token appeared in Emperor Keon's hand. Just as he was about to understand the situation, a group of people charged over from the surging demonic clouds. Song Shi took a closer look and asked in surprise, "It's that fellow from Sky Demon Cult again. Didn't you cripple him last time? He's most likely colluding with Li Nation and wanted to take advantage of the chaos." Emperor Keon's expression was as ugly as a rainy day. They even participated in breaking the spatial passageway. It's obvious. It's a pity that these guys don't have much affinity with the demonic key either. Song Shi looked at the Sky Demon Cult cultivators whose veins were bulging uncontrollably with interest. The demonic key and nomological power in their bodies were in conflict, similar to the situation he was in when he exploded. The only difference was the amount of demonic key in their bodies. They were looking at the Sky Demon Cult cultivators, and the other party was also sizing them up. After recognizing Emperor Keon, they hurriedly stopped approaching. Why is Emperor Keon back so quickly? The person beside him seems to be. The group of people was surprised. After recognizing Song Shi, they turned around and ran, as if they had encountered a plague. They clearly knew that Sky Demon Cult had fallen to such a state because of this person. No one wanted to face this cursed god. Is that necessary? Am I that scary? Song Shi shrugged. He did not want to deal with these weak soldiers and cowardly generals. Instead, he pointed at the demon venerables. More yang nomological power surged out, forming a huge sun that dispersed the surrounding demonic key and opened a path. Wuxia and the others are surrounded. When Emperor Keon received the news, he was shocked and bewildered. With two elders around, how were they surrounded? Why don't we go over and take a look? Song Shi had already sensed that there were several rather powerful auras in the center of the demonic cloud. They were most likely the cause for the entrapment. Right. Emperor Keon turned into a beam of light and rushed into the depths. Song Shi strolled leisurely after him, but his speed was not slow at all. The deeper they went, the thicker the demonic clouds became. Soon, they became as black as ink and condensed without dispersing. The fireballs that Song Shi used to scout the way began to dim as they were corroded and contaminated. What a strong demonic key! Song Shi was surprised. Although this demonic key was not as pure as it was in the heavenly demon realm, it was still very terrifying. Moreover, it constantly contaminated the spiritual key of heaven and earth in this world. He vaguely sensed that if this continued, this world might be contaminated and this demonic key would spread like a virus. This was even more serious than his phenomenon. The opening of the spatial passageway was not as simple as leaking some demonic key. It might also involve assimilation. Demonic key would assimilate spiritual key. As for the reverse, it should be very difficult because this world could not compare to the heavenly demon world and would definitely be assimilated. Not only him, but Emperor Keon also sensed this sign and said in a low voice, "This demonic key is too terrifying. We can't even absorb the spiritual key here anymore when we go deep into this place. If it spreads too much, the nearby area might become a forbidden area." He reminded, "Son-in-law, you'd better conserve your nomological power. I reckon that when we fight later, we can only rely on spirit stones and pills to restore your nomological power. You definitely can't absorb the demonic key here." "It's fine. I have plenty of nomological power." Song Shi did not conserve his nomological power. It was not only because he had 9 nascent souls and abundant nomological power, but because he reached his peak state whenever he died. Thus, there was no need to conserve energy. On the contrary, he looked at the darkness around him and said, "It's too dark. Let me condense a few more suns." His body shone brightly, and fireballs rose like the sun. In the blink of an eye, 9 suns filled the sky. The masculinity quickly melted the surrounding demonic clouds, illuminating the city wall of the palace. Outside the city wall, a group of monsters surrounded it and attacked the defensive array formation of the palace crazily. Coupled with the corrosion of the demonic key, the array formation was on the verge of collapse. Sensing an annoying light appearing above their heads, the monsters turned around and bared their bloody mouths, baring their sharp fangs as they roared at Song Shi. All the muscles of these monsters expanded. Their fangs and mouths were sharp, and the muscles on their bodies expanded to an exaggerated extent, filled with explosive power. The most important thing was that these monsters were actually absorbing the surrounding demonic ki to replenish their consumption. It looked like they were either extremely strong or agile. They looked very dangerous. Demons! Song Shi recognized these monsters. The monsters they cultivated this time can be of use in such an environment. Roar! Some winged monsters flew up, not afraid of Song Shi and Emperor Qian at all. They let out strange cries and pounced over. Song Shi narrowed his eyes and did not stop. He raised his hand and pressed down. A fire sword beam was released. When it came into contact with the monster, it easily cut them open. The firepower contained in it turned it into ashes. The sword ki swept out, continuously slicing apart all the fellows that flew over. After landing on the ground, it killed layer after layer of monsters, finally leaving a sword mark on the ground. The people in the palace sensed the commotion, and Qian Wuji was the first to rush out. He said excitedly, "Father, it's great that you're back so quickly." He and the others looked relieved. Song Shi frowned. "What? How were you trapped with such a small number of monsters?" When Qian Wuji saw Song Shi, he remembered that the other party had already become his brother-in-law. Even though he had suffered a huge loss from the other party, he could only be polite. This demonic ki is like poison. If we absorb it, our nomological power will be contaminated. Even if we don't take the initiative to absorb it, our essence, energy, and spirit are still being contaminated, albeit at a smaller rate. In this demonic cloud, be it spells or Dharma treasures, their power will be greatly reduced. We are not that guy's match at all. Emperor Qian glanced sideways. Are you talking about Yu Hua? Isn't his only clone only at the nascent soul realm? Can't the two elders stop him? He, do you think two old things are worthy of fighting me? A mocking voice came from the depths of the demonic cloud, answering Emperor Qian's question. At the same time, it sounded smug. When Song Shi heard this voice, he felt that it was a little familiar. It was like Demon Venerable Yu Hua, but there was a difference. He flicked his finger, and a sun flew over. With raging flames and golden light, it illuminated a huge figure. The latter was more than 10 feet tall, and his muscles were bulging. His skin had an additional layer of black keratin that looked like scales. The bulging veins were like old tree roots. His eyes were blood red, and his current aura was violent and powerful. He was actually far stronger than his main body. He was at least at the mid-stage soul transformation realm now. Song Shi glanced at the demonic clouds and fell into deep thought. This fellow's improvement was so fast. It should be due to this thing. The latter came over with madness. When he saw Song Shi, his aggro exploded. "It's you again. I must kill you today." Song Shi looked at this monster that still looked like Demon Venerable Yu Hua in surprise. Clicking his tongue, "Oh, I haven't seen you for a few days, you've become arrogant." "Father, this fellow has been influenced by the demonic ki. His strength is extremely terrifying." Qian Wuji warned everyone. He's already more terrifying than his main body. The most important thing is that he can recover his strength at any time due to this demonic cloud. His strength has indeed clearly increased, but his intelligence has also decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye. He actually dared to appear in front of me again. Song Shi shook his head and slapped over. The space in between them solidified momentarily, and the nomological power hand easily hit the latter. With a loud bang, the demonic monster was sent flying before it could even show its true colors.